Hello again, it's Tina Wright for week 6, Can We Really Operate an Agency Like a Business? Prepared for MPA 510, led by Dr. Sundstrom. This week we are given a hypothetical where a supervisor wishes to run a public agency more like a business. In the discussion, we are posed a question by Graham Allison. Can public and private management, are they fundamentally alike in all important respects? I will be comparing a public defense agency and a private law firm to try to discuss this question. First, I'd like to go over their functional similarities. In the Pendleton Act, we are provided that staffing positions are based on qualifications rather than the spoils system. And each of these professions, they do have to pass the bar. So we're pulling in that concept of training by Weber, as discussed in bureaucracy. Both professions uphold the Constitution by defending the law and clients' rights, and both have to adhere to ethical standards developed by the American Bar Association, which is kind of a sideways glance at Taylor and his development of standards. But how are they different? So structure-wise, private law firms, a lot of them tend to be structured by partnerships. So folks have kind of an equal or divisible share of what's going on in the partnership. And the public is structured in a hierarchy reminiscent of Weber's bureaucracy. Also for growth, if we look at the private sector, growth depends on profits and the market, and it's all market driven, whereas public is kind of based on Anthony Downs' theory of bureaucracy, how an agency grows and how we don't want, they constantly want to get more employees and keep the agency growing so that they can get more appropriations so their agency lives on. For autonomy and choice, there are kind of two categories here in its autonomy of the lawyer and autonomy of the client. So in private practice, a lawyer gets to choose whether or not he accepts a case, and a client gets to select his lawyer. In public defense, you are appointed by the courts, so the lawyer does not get to choose his cases, and the client does not get to choose their attorney either. So we're constrained by the judicial system, and that can be seen in Allison's work. For specialization, in the private sector, generally, if you hire a lawyer, they specify in that particular type of crime or infraction that you're going through, whether it be, criminal, civil, contract. In the public system, generally, it's mostly criminal. Our particular public defense office in Montana also does abuse and neglect cases. So I'm going to really try to dig into Simon's view of specialization and whether or not it creates efficiency in government. And then finally, we face some wicked problems in public defense if your public defender area is trying to go into the reducing recidivism and how that works, working through the courts. And, Montana, we use a holistic defense approach. We also encourage clients to work through treatment courts. But are we really reducing recidivism, or are we creating new problems in the government? So those are some areas I really want to dig deeper into. Here are a list of references that I've used. And finally, I hope all of you have a great weekend, and thank you so much for listening.